while I was in my history class, on the weekend, would just work on that. I mean, I'd play Melee sometimes and whatnot, but I did not go to any friend's house. I did not go to my dad's house. I always had homework every single week, and I was always working on it. So I actually had some reformed strategies for that game, Access Now as Classic, over that time. But by the time that we started playing the game again, I had gotten the global game for Christmas. He got that for Christmas for me, so when we came back to it, we were just playing global, and that's what we're doing right now. And I've won every single game. I can go into strategies for that game later. I've already done some of it, but yeah, I'm gonna take a look at the time because I can't see it right now. 11:25. Okay. Okay, so yeah, like I said, once I got the whole defensive mindset, I pretty much started winning like every game, I'd say. Or at least it looked pretty much like I was gonna win, I'd say. He usually say like, oh, you're probably gonna win anyway, sort of thing. Even though for a while, I'd say, I didn't actually have a developed US strategy. I only got a developed US strategy once I saw General Hankenade's floating bridge strategy, because before that I had difficulty in what I really wanted to do with the US. I thought of building up a fleet, attacking Japan, which is something I did one game, but I never actually attacked Japan. I just built up. But then I saw the Shuck. I already knew the Shuck, but I didn't know how the USA could use it. And then I came up with the idea from doing not really a Shuck, I'd call it like a turn back. A turn back from Western Canada, move it, land forces there, then you can go back and forth and take units from there. And then I got that idea and just attack France constantly. And then I got that idea with the USA, so that's how I learned to attack with the USA. But I had a strategy in the well, not Pacific, but Asia, where I just have an industrial complex in India, and if Japan couldn't take India by like turn 3, then like I could just get infantry stacks and send Kiang and India, and potentially retreat those to like the USSRs, like Kazakhstan and those other ones like Natul Okrug or whatever, Evenko Natul Okrug, and the other one. The 3 ones that surround the USSR in that game. I'm going to retreat them to there and then put some Soviet forces there and make quite a stack, I'd say, against Japan, to stop the USSR just getting encircled and Japan getting all that money. Because in that game, if you can delay the Japanese for 1 turn, and like, especially if you can delay them for 2 turns, you've really done well, I'd say. That's really what I'm looking for, I'd say. Delay the Japanese, and then have the Americans just go into France, and have the British support the USSR from Karelia. That's how I do that. Build an industrial complex in India and in South Africa, actually. So I can build land units there. It saves more money than building boats, and it's more safe than building boats. And rather than having like the whole thing that other people do, where they like, in pretty much every Access Now as game, I'd say, other than global, the whole have the Americans and the British build up a fleet together type of thing. I always thought that the Americans should just build a fleet themselves, and that's something I still do in global. I don't have the British build a fleet in the Atlantic. I don't bother with that, well, other than for like stopping convoys if they got over 3 subs around the British Isles. But other than that, like, I don't have the British build a fleet in the Atlantic. But I didn't really like the idea of the whole, I guess, traditional put on an aircraft carrier and transport, then have the Americans land their fighters there, because I like having those fighters to use against Japan, or defend against Japan, potentially, because there would always be a Pearl Harbor in our games, which I don't think is a rare thing. And I like to have the Americans have a fleet in the Pacific. I'd build 4 subs for them, along with their battleships, so they'd be pretty well defended, I'd say. And they could counterattack pretty any Japanese landing on Hawaii, I'd say, or Alaska. So Japan could either just use transports, and then I pick off the transports, or they bring their fleet, and then I can use planes and those subs to do that. So, and then once I had that sort of semi-shuck back and forth established in the Atlantic, then I would start building my Pacific fleet. It's around turn 6 in that game. Because even though I could do it before, I would like meddle around in Africa and get like 2 battleships in the Atlantic, so I could get like double bombardment and such. To be honest, that may be a little obsolete in my opinion now, but I just haven't played that game. I don't think it'd be terrible. I think I'd, because there's like an anti-aircraft on France. But yeah. That's what I did in that. I think that game is still fine. I mean, I think it's pretty outdated compared to other Axis and Allies games, but I don't think it's a bad game. I think it's still pretty good. I think it's enjoyable. Global is definitely my favorite version. But to be honest, I've only actually played Global and the original Axis and Allies. I've never even played Europe or Pacific because, for me, Global just makes them obsolete in most respects, I'd say. But I wouldn't mind to play other editions. 1942 looks pretty good to me. Revised looks decent to me, okay to me. Anniversary Edition, not sure what Anniversary Edition, to be honest. Not sure as in I don't know, but not sure as in the positioning there. I think it looks mostly fine to me, but some of the money seems pretty off to me. 1914 looks good to me, but entirely unbalanced to me. Having difficulty doing like reactions, I'd say, with while talking, but head down there and target him if he does another upbeat. But I think I've said pretty much all I want to say. Nowadays I just mainly like playing the Allies and Axis and Allies games. I'm most comfortable with them. I know what I'm doing. I like that in Global and the original version, so that's why I like playing Axis and Allies. So I started playing Axis and Allies. Yeah.